Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. Hope everyone is waking up and feeling fantastic out there this morning and having a great start to your day and a great weekend out there so far. We got you a video jam-packed with information to kick off your Sunday morning. We have a very active day ahead of us. We have severe weather. We have heavy snow. And of course, we're going to break it all down for you folks. I could see the severe weather threat increasing in the next couple outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. I'll talk about why in this video, but we're going to break it all down for you folks. Once we get to that south central frame, we'll give you that full extension of this winter storm update that will extend a little bit into our Monday. Also, we'll have a separate timestamp for the Northeast and break down the latest information and how much snow you guys could expect if you live up there in New England, the Northeast, even the Ohio Valley. I'll have a separate timestamp up for that. And we're going to break it all down. This is going to be a long video. There's just a lot going on right now. So, stay patient with me. We'll work our way to your area. But listen, I mean, those timestamps are there to help you folks take advantage of those. If you're not concerned about what's going to happen 4 states away from you, definitely take advantage of those timestamps. And the very end of the video, we will just kind of give you some brief information on what we're looking at as far as that time frame coming up that I've been talking about over the last several videos. So, yeah, if you hear any loud noises in the background, we got a lot of kids in the house. My little girl had a sleepover and 2 of her friends spent the night last night, and with just everybody waking up, there's a good chance you're going to hear some kind of scream in the background or something like that. But with that being said, if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I want to say welcome to any new people to the channel. There's been some decent growth lately. There's nothing too fancy with this channel. We just jump on here, talk about the weather, have more of a personal feel to it, and then we head on off. So welcome to any new people to the channel. Thank you all for supporting in the way of viewing the videos. And definitely appreciate all the support lately as the channel continues to grow. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. And as always, I don't answer the comments much on the weekends, just so much going on. So I will get caught up with everything probably sometime tomorrow, honestly. So if you've had questions about, what's going on right out in front of us, chances are I've missed your questions. Send me an email. My email's tagged on my YouTube channel. Ask me a question on social media like Twitter or X, whatever they call it these days. There's a good chance I can get to your questions a lot quicker that way. So let's get rocking and rolling. So there's a lot going on out there right now. As we expected, we got, hailstorms in areas of eastern Texas, and we got snow in other areas of Texas, and we got some rain starting to switch to some snow in Oklahoma, western Oklahoma. And remember, we talked about, if you tuned in to last night's video and you live in this area, that we kind of thought that snowfall accumulation totals could increase, the projected totals. And they have across Oklahoma. So we'll talk about that. But there's a big area of rain kind of moving across the deep south into the southern Appalachian Mountains all the way up into Virginia. And then the northern portion of the country is pretty quiet. The Northeast pretty quiet. And then we have a warmer system moving into the Pacific Northwest this morning. So this is the big system. This is very dynamic. Dynamic meaning, like I said, you got snow in one area. You got severe weather not too far away from where the snow's falling. So it's pretty wild out there. We get a few of these systems a year. There's nothing too unusual as far as that. But as far as severe weather today, guys, this could increase. This is the latest update from earlier this morning. There's another update that will come out by the time this video probably uploads. In fact, I might try to jump back to this at the very end of the video to see if we have an update. But they do mention the possibility of this increasing to an enhanced risk. Right now, it's just a slight risk, which means a level 2 out of 5 risk. So everybody in the yellow, someone could upgrade to an enhanced risk somewhere in Louisiana and southern Mississippi today. But as of right now, you got a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location in this brown area. Southeast Texas through the heart of Louisiana, all the way through south central Mississippi and a very small section of western Alabama. Wind threat, 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. And the hail threat is significant. Meaning, not only in this yellow area do you have a 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter, you also have in the hatched area, the black outlined area with the black dashes going in between it, that is a 10% risk of significant hail, which means you could have hail exceeding 2-inch in diameter or larger, a 10% chance of that. So what I watch for today is, do we get a 10% risk of a tornado issued sometime in the next hour and a half? The next update comes out at around, I would say, 8:15, 8:30 Eastern time. So I would not be surprised if this upgrades to an enhanced risk. The flooding risk today, just marginal, 5%. At least 5%. So, we're going to get a good bit of rain, but the flooding threat is going to be held at bay today, I think. But this could increase to a slight risk as of now, just a marginal risk in this green area right into here. Then watches, warnings, and advisories. Of course, we have the severe thunderstorm watch up. I think that's a severe thunderstorm watch. Yeah, severe thunderstorm watch up right now in Texas with some strong to severe storms ongoing. And then in this pink, that's kind of two different shades of pink, right? This pink right here, that's winter storm warnings. And they have been extended all the way into Oklahoma now. Almost all the way into central Oklahoma. And then this purple color, that's winter weather advisories. And this teal color up here is winter storm watches that will likely get upgraded to winter storm warnings sometime over the next 12 to 24 hours. And this does include like Boston, Scranton, Binghamton, north of New York City, almost all of southern New England. Includes a lot of people. So I do expect winter weather advisories to be issued right into this area. Some areas will see it, some areas won't. It just depends on what your criteria for snow for a winter weather advisory is. So let's move to the southeast. Let's take that broad look just like we always do at first, and then we'll zoom into these individual areas that are under the gun today was for some nasty weather. So we'll start off this morning. H-R model doing an okay job picking up at that axis of rain. But as we get into midday this afternoon, you can see the strong to severe storms sort of refiring after some clearing this morning in eastern Texas. And then they start to move into Louisiana. We could have a complex of storms in southern Arkansas today, too, that could pack a punch. And there could be some thunderstorms way out ahead of all this right here, like in Georgia, South Alabama. So don't be surprised if in Dothan or Columbus you get some rumbles of thunder and some storms a little bit later today. Don't want to completely ignore that area. But it's right when we get into this area, there's going to be a warm front right into here. And I don't have my thing up to really draw on this, but I don't think I'll need it too much. But there's probably going to be a warm front right into here. And any of these storms that latch onto that could produce tornadoes. So let's just go on and do the entire sweep through, and then we'll zoom into this area. But as you can tell, thunderstorms, even north of this warm front, where, have a little bit more stable conditions, heavy rain in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and it's going to get quite stormy in Atlanta overnight. If you love a rainy night, it's a good song. You're probably going to like tonight. I don't think these storms will pack much of a punch severe weather-wise, but they could produce some loud thunder tonight in areas of northern Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina, getting into the Midlands of South Carolina, all the way into North Carolina as we're waking up for a Monday morning. And then a heck of a lot more shower and storm activity gets going again to kick off your Monday morning here in the Deep South. But let's just zoom into this. So this is what it looks like, the latest H-R model. And as we're getting, if you're confused about the time frame, this is in Eastern time, so this is around lunchtime today. Not a whole lot going on. We got some storms entering northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas. But then as we start to get into this afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon, some storms start rumbling through northern Louisiana, and we start to get these individual cells. It looks really sloppy here. But I'm telling you, any of these storms right into here, you see that little bit of that, almost that kidney bean look? If you've been tuning in for a while or been watching severe weather coverage for a while, you know that when storms kind of start to kind of hook like this, they're probably got some decent rotation in them. That doesn't necessarily mean they're producing a tornado, but some decent rotation. Around 5, 6, maybe 4 p.m., give or take an hour, the warm front's going to be somewhere into here. That means anybody south of this warm front's going to have the best ingredients. But you might lack lift for thunderstorms down here. This will kind of be the area where you'll have a change of direction with height and even at the surface because the warm front's coming in, bringing southerly winds out the south as it lifts and kind of pivots back and forth in one area before the cold front moves in. So we got to watch this axis right into here. I mean, what is this? Monroe, Jackson right into here, Meridian, Tuscaloosa, I'm sorry. Birmingham. We got to watch these little storms right in here to kind of ride that warm front. And then this continues. I mean, we get to 7 to 8, 9 p.m. You got to watch all these storms right into here. And I'm not saying to ignore down here too, like near Hattiesburg and, just places further south in Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. But this is the area to watch. This will be a favored area right into here. And these sort of continue. You get in well after the sun sets. We're getting 10, 11 p.m. And the storms continue. I think we'll still have a severe weather threat all the way into Birmingham overnight, all the way into Atlanta. We could have some severe storms. And then as we're waking up for our Monday morning, widespread showers and storms riding out the Gulf into southern Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, all the way into sections of Georgia. So if we look at the ingredients today, you can see what this warm front is very well. And we'll rise it here. These are dew points. Let's just go on and take it all the way to about, this is about 4, 5, 6 p.m., something like that. If you look here, dew points in the 60s, upper 60s. I mean, even some low 70s down here. Dew points only in the 50s on this side right here of this little boundary you see right here. That is the warm front. That's the warm front right there that separates, more stable, less humid air with more humid, unstable air down here. And you can see it. This is that boundary. Anybody along this boundary point south, just south, is going to have the best severe weather threat. Very humid air for mid-February standards. And you can see it. And then the cold front sweeps through, stabilizes the atmosphere, much drier, stable air moves in. Another way to look at this is CAPE levels. Now, this is surface-based CAPE, not the best thing to look at always, but I think it's a great indication of showing where that warm front is. I think it's even better. You get into this afternoon once again. I mean, this is about middle, late afternoon. And you see how it goes from like 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram at the surface of CAPE, storm energy, to absolutely hardly nothing north of this boundary. That's your warm front right there. And you're going to have a change of direction with winds. That little change of direction with winds at the surface and just aloft helps to provide an extra spin to the atmosphere. So you got to watch this area right into here. You really do. And then you combine that with kinematics, favorable winds aloft, and you're going to have a 35, 45 knot low-level jet screeching across Louisiana into Mississippi today. So this will provide some of that wind energy that supports a severe weather threat, whether it's a damaging wind threat, tornado threat. That will be there for sure. A little bit of a changing direction with height, certainly a good bit of shear to work with. How displaced will this be from the main kind of danger zone, the warm sector? It's a big question here. I think there is some question marks with this severe weather threat, but I do think that this could increase to an enhanced risk here in the next outlook. And the updraft velocity swath really indicates it well. It's kind of weird. It almost shows it just north of the warm front boundary, but it really isolates this one area right into here, right around where that warm front's going to be. This could move a little bit further north, stay a little bit further south, but wherever this is, I think that's where your tornado threat will maximize. So what, Jackson's right into here, Mississippi River, Shreveport, Monroe. Like central Mississippi, getting into the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham area, and it even has a tornado threat tonight in Atlanta. So we got to watch. We got to watch this. Definitely some active weather for our Super Bowl Sunday, that's for sure. Rainfall expected from this, a good swath. I mean, it really picks up. You start to get some wide. In fact, we'll go on and just take this all the way out to Monday. Let's just take it all the way to a Tuesday morning. A lot of rain on the way. Hey, I didn't even realize we had this much rain on the way here in my neck of the woods. See, it tells you that I'm not on top of everything all the time, but central Mississippi, the northern half of Alabama, all of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, the southern Alps region, this is a goalie washer on the way. This is a soaking El Nino type rain that's on the way for you folks. So a lot of rain, 1 to 3 to 4 inches of rain widespread in this entire region. So Northeast. Enjoy today. You'll probably still be well above average temperature-wise. Make some preparations if you need to. You get into this afternoon, that little bit of rain clears out of the mid-Atlantic to Delmarva. Could be left with some lingering rain showers along Maryland and just the mid-Atlantic region. But, by the time we get into this afternoon, this evening, into the overnight hours, a little bit of snow shower. Could get a lake effect snowbank that comes off of Lake Ontario. But, it's a pretty quiet day for like 80% of the Northeast. Mid-Atlantic, some shower and cloudiness activity. Outside of that, it's a pretty chill day for the Northeast ahead of this winter storm on the way. South Central U.S., it's already active out there right now, right? We take a look at the radar and what's going on out of Amarillo. It says it's snowing just north of Lubbock. Don't have much in the way of any reports around Amarillo, but it is looking like it's snowing. And you look, you got a report well west of Oklahoma City that it's snowing. Oklahoma City, someone's reporting that it's just raining, but that was kind of expected this morning. But here it is. You got definitely banding in this. You can see the banding of the snow sort of pivoting in different directions. This area from the south, this area from the north. That tells me that you're probably about to get some really intense snow that's about to get going. HRRR model showing what's going on pretty well in Texas and Oklahoma. It really is. I think it's doing a heck of a job. But we kind of look at the entire swath of this system, right? And we take it all the way through, and we get into this morning, get into about midday, just rain in Arkansas. Look, it's starting to snow pretty heavily in areas of even like northwest Texas, like outside the Panhandle, getting into this area. Snow's falling pretty heavily. And then as we get into this late this afternoon, this evening, this is when you have an opportunity in Oklahoma City, even the Tulsa, to switch to some heavy wet snow. I kind of mentioned that. When do you switch? Do you switch this afternoon? Do you switch this evening? It's a big question mark. So, and then this entire system sort of heads on out. We'll have a period of snow Monday morning into Monday afternoon for areas of Missouri into Illinois also. But, just kind of a zoomed in look of all these regions. And it really shows you the dynamics of this. Let's talk about the severe weather threat really quick for Texas first. Here it is. I mean, you got those little kidney bean looking storms right here about midday, late morning, lunchtime period here in eastern Texas. You got to watch for all these storms. If you live in eastern Texas and you're a viewer, let me know. But man, you got to watch out for these. In fact, if they issue an enhanced risk, I wouldn't be surprised if they extend it from like, excuse me, eastern areas of Texas through Louisiana through Mississippi. And that's a look that you don't like to see if you kind of, let's see if we can look at the Louisiana one right here. Yeah, you see these storms right into here? You don't like to see that. So watch out if you're in East Texas. Those storms could produce a tornado. This look is definitely a little bit concerning, and this is the latest HRRR model too, so this is the latest information. Please be aware in this area right here as these storms move into Louisiana. They could produce a tornado. In fact, let's look at the updraft velocity swath in this region right here. And, it does pick up on it. It picks up on these spinning updrafts right in here. So please be aware in this area for sure a little bit later this morning into this afternoon. But we kind of keep this going there. There's another look at the updraft velocity swath for areas of Texas. But you kind of move to areas of the Panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, kind of a zoomed in look. And we kind of keep this going. And if you notice, like this is about 1 p.m. Central Time out in Oklahoma and Texas. If you notice, look at the tight gradient between just heavy rain and then heavy snow. And watch how this goes from like moderate to heavy rain in Oklahoma City and abruptly switches to like heavy snow. And guys, I'm telling you, this late this afternoon, this evening in Oklahoma City, I know I keep mentioning that, but of course that's more of a household name city. But I mean, down here in Texas too, like down here in this region of Texas, heavy snow this afternoon, this evening. I mean, guys, this is going to be that pretty heavy wet snow too, like the ones where if you don't have too much winds, I mean, it just looks like you got like snowflakes the size of cotton balls out there just falling. And that is the snow that really accumulates fast. And I think that'll be the case in southwest areas of Oklahoma, this area of North Texas, and even getting into central Oklahoma later today. And this can happen fast. This is around 8 p.m. It's snowing heavily based off the HRRR model this evening in this area in central Oklahoma. And I'm telling you, depending on how heavy it stays, how long it stays snow, and of course, by the time you get deeper into the night, you're not struggling with temperatures as much. But I know this looks like, a compact little snow event, but this thing is cranking. I'm telling you, this is like just after midnight, still snowing like crazy in Oklahoma City. It's done switched to heavy snow in Tulsa at this point. And then it's switching to snow in extreme northwest Arkansas, where I think in the wee hours of the morning until about sunrise, you guys could get hit with some heavy wet snow too. Maybe Fort Smith points north. Fort Smith might struggle, but Fayetteville, the northwest corner of Arkansas, certainly gets hit hard with this. It starts to move into Springfield. And I will go on and switch it to this. It's going to move it up. Here it is. Moves into Springfield. Might start out as a little rain. Might not. Heavy snow falling in Springfield, Missouri. Joplin, it tries to get up to you folks. And this continues. And how far north does this get into like the St. Louis area? But southern Missouri, except the Boot Hill of Missouri, getting some pretty heavy snow around midday tomorrow. And, northern sections of Arkansas are getting a good bit of snow at this point. But, I don't think you're going to get any kind of substantial accumulations. But, the big question is, how far north does this get into St. Louis? It looks like there's a tight gradient between nothing and some decent snowfall. But it does show some heavy snow getting into Illinois, and then this clears on out. We'll talk about Illinois here in a different tab here in a second. But snowfall, kind of that broad look at this. This is what they're saying. Some of this is already falling and accumulating. This is the National Weather Service look at Oklahoma and Texas. And as you can tell, they've increased it in Oklahoma City. Remember, there was once upon a time, a day and a half ago, where it really wasn't calling for anything in this area, especially this area right in here. Now it's a little bit different. You go a little bit further up the road to Missouri and southern Missouri, you guys are, and we're going to take a look at those really cool graphics that show town names and cities too here in a second. But, southern Missouri guys can get an all-out winter storm from this. I think they just got winter weather advisories up for this area now. But, they're going for about 3 to 5 inches in Springfield now. And there might be an area to get 6 to 7 to 8 inches of snow. So we got to watch for this. This could be a sneaky, quick-hitting winter storm for you folks. But, to kind of look at what happened to Amarillo. I guess I don't have Amarillo up, probably because I didn't pull it up because of snowing now. But, an update from the Lubbock area, now going for 6 to 8 inches of snow. Remember, 2 days ago, they were only going for an inch of snow in Lubbock. It tells you how quick it changes with these events. Plainview, 6 to 8. Silverton, some of the snows are maybe already accumulated to a couple inches in this area. 8 to 12. Childress, 4 to 6. Brownfield still going for about 2 to 3 inches, and Post about 3 to 4 inches. So you go up to Oklahoma City, they have increased it to 3 to 4 inches of snow now. So Altus now up to 4 to 6. Lawton 2 to 3. Clinton 2 to 3. So Wichita Falls, this is getting close to Dallas, right? 1 to 2 inches of snow now forecast. Seymour 2 to 3 inches of snow. So hey, I personally didn't even give this area a chance of accumulating snow a couple of days ago. Now they're calling for 1 to 2 inches of snow. Up to Tulsa, now they're calling for 2 to 3 inches of snow. Remember, I told you last night I thought this area would increase. Waking up to a forecast of 2 to 3 inches of snow in Tulsa now. Fayetteville, 2 to 3 inches of snow. You get into the far northwest corner of Arkansas, up in, I don't know what county this is, but they're going for 3 to 4 inches. Miami, Oklahoma, 2 to 3 inches. So, it's increasing, guys. And it could increase again before we have any other update tonight. If I'm able to get an update, it's going to be hard to get an update tonight, guys. I'm just going to let you know right off the dot. Very difficult to do with Super Bowl and church choir and stuff like that. But I'll see what I can do. Joplin, you're still going from, you can get a trace to 4 to 6 inches. Springfield, forecast now up to 2 to 5. Lebanon, 2 to 6. Ava, 1 to 4. Anderson, trace to 3 inches. So it's a tough forecast in this area. We'll go all the way up to St. Louis, going for 0 to 1 inches. Farmington, a trace to 3. So just a skinny corridor of snow expected in this area. But, you start to get into Illinois, 0 to 1 in Salem, 0 to 1 in Nashville. So we'll see what happens in this area. We'll see if this increases. This is another area that could increase. It could. So if you're wondering about the Ohio Valley, I'll give you an update. I'll have a separate tab for that, so just hang tight with me. If you're one of those awesome people that watch the entire video. But, you get into midday today for the north central U.S., and we are going to have some snow flying around in the upper UP of Michigan. Could have some energy flying off Lake Superior, so could get some light snowfall accumulations in this area, especially the eastern UP. Could get some snow shower activity in the northern lower sections of Michigan. And then we start to get into the overnight hours. Could have an area of some light to moderate kind of snow showers ongoing in northern Wisconsin. They could drift into Green Bay. And could wake up tomorrow morning with a little bit of snow still flying around the UP, northern lower Michigan. Not a big deal at all if we look at how much snow could fall from this event between now and Tuesday morning. Dusting amounts in northern Michigan. The UP depends on where you are in these favorite areas, but someone could sneak in 4 to 6 inches of snow depending on your location. But in general, 1 to 3 inches of snow expected, hugged up against Lake Superior itself. So western U.S., for the most part, it's quiet. We're getting a warmer system moving into the Pacific Northwest. Some snow in these higher elevations of the Cascades. A little bit of snow in the Olympic Mountains. This moves into the northern Rockies. If you live in northern Idaho later this afternoon, the northwest corner and western sections of Montana could see some snow showers. These snow showers could drift all the way into central Montana. And as we're waking up tomorrow morning, more widespread, heavier snow kind of drifting through the area, but this really isn't going to warrant any kind of winter storm warnings or anything like that. Maybe some winter weather advisories get issued in this area later today. Could be wrong, but just some snow in northern Idaho, central and western Montana. Some accumulations are expected. Could get several inches of snow up here. But of course, the criteria for snowfall for a winter storm warning is much higher up here, of course. So, temperatures, warm day in the southeast. So you're going to get widespread 80s in Florida today. Someone might hit 80 in Alabama. Very warm air mass, in this warm sector for this severe weather today. So another warm day in the northeast, not near as warm as yesterday. You're kind of starting to cool down, setting the tone for this winter storm. But you still would not think with these temperatures in place that a winter storm's on the way. But it is. Boston might, someone in like Massachusetts or southern New England might hit 50 degrees a day ahead of this winter storm on the way. But, pretty warm ahead of the snow. I mean, you might hit 50 degrees in Tulsa today and then get a few inches of snow overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And I'm going to tell you, even if, say, Oklahoma City somehow surprises and gets like several inches of snow, it's going to melt very fast as it's going to warm right back up behind this system. Temperatures out west, warming up along the western U.S., starting to get above average temperature-wise. And, I mean, it's, for the most part, around average to above average out here as far as temperatures. So let's talk about the Ohio Valley. We're going to keep this going about halfway through finally. It's a long video. Let's talk about Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio in this. So we'll start this off Monday morning. As you can tell, there is some heavier snow, very small area of it as we're getting into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Could be snowing pretty heavily down here in southern sections of Illinois. Could struggle with just rain. Then as we get into about 7, 8 p.m., how much snow are you going to get in southern Indiana? It's a big question. Indianapolis, I think you're going to remain mostly dry. A little bit of snow could get up to you. But southern Indiana and even southern Illinois, I mean, even getting into western areas of Kentucky, the Boot Hill, Missouri, tomorrow evening, it's snowing pretty good. This is some very heavy snow if this is the way it plays out. And then you get into about 10, 11 p.m., I mean, guys, it's snowing for all of this section of Kentucky, Paducah, all the way up to Mayfield. I mean, to Louisville, to Cincinnati, snowing pretty good in all the southern counties of Indiana. Rain switching to snow. And Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, it's snowing. Doesn't really reach Cleveland. But you keep this going, and it switches to heavy snow in Frankfort, Lexington, Kentucky. And look at this band of pretty heavy snow flying through Ohio. It looks like you'll struggle with rain initially in southern Ohio. But, if something like this was to happen, I mean, you could get a quick hitting decent snow event for this area. And we'll take a look at the NAM and kind of finish off this run. NAM isn't as nice with the snow, but it still is there. And we're getting all the way to Tuesday morning. You're ending in some snow as far south as like the Cumberland Plateau in Tennessee. Some snow flying around the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. And even some snow flying around in eastern sections of Ohio, West Virginia, eastern Kentucky. And then this heads on out, maybe some lake effect energy flying off the southern tip of Lake Michigan. What about snowfall from this? Well, the National Weather Service has bumped up some totals in this region, but they're not going for much. I think they're saying maybe at most 2 inches of snow in southern sections of Illinois. 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow, especially the further you get closer to Ohio, tucked into this area. And then sort of a swath of 2 to 4 inches of snow in central Ohio all the way up into northeast Ohio. It looks like the National Weather Service thinks this axis of snow is going to be a little bit further north. And it looks like you're going to struggle down here. If you look at something like the GFS for this region, let's see. Well, I don't know what's going on here. All right. The GFS, the global models are still going crazy with this. They really are. I mean, they want to drop 10 to 12 inches of snow in southern Indiana. And then you look at the GFS for this region down here, and the GFS is much further south, kind of like the HRRR model, but they really want to be a lot more excited about these snowfall totals than the National Weather Service. But I'm telling you, if you're a big snow fan in this area and you're thinking, oh man, we're going to go for the global models, don't set yourself up like that. The National Weather Service people are experts for a reason. Yes, they do get it wrong sometimes, but I would stay conservative and stick with the National Weather Service forecast in these areas, which is much lower. But we will zoom into these areas. National Weather Service out of Illinois, Effingham, 0 to 1 inches. Robinson could get nothing. They could get 2 inches of snow. All right, we continue to move. We get out to the National Weather Service out of Indianapolis. Could get an inch of snow. there. And Bloomington, 0 to 2 inches. So, there's a big question mark in these areas, guys. You could get nothing. You could get 2 inches of snow. So, head on over to the Ohio Wilmington National Weather Service. They're almost calling for about an inch in Cincinnati now. Going for 2 to 2.5 inches of snow from Dayton to Springfield, Ohio, Hamilton. About 2 inches. Columbus, 2.5 inches of snow now. So this is an area that has increased a little bit. I did not get the one out of Cleveland, I don't think, so my bad on that. But the snowfall has increased a little bit for that region too. Louisville, they're not calling for anything, guys, but I'm telling you, you could get a couple of inches of wet snow in this area. In all these areas. I mean, Lexington, Frankfort only going for an inch or less, but things could change in this area for sure. And then the National Weather Service out of Charleston, snowshoe about 1.5 inches. And I kind of hate I didn't get you guys in Cleveland. In fact, I feel a little guilty, so I might actually do it here on the fly for you folks in Cleveland. So y'all bear with me. What is CLE? Come on. Yep, we're good to go. CLE. See how quick this is, guys? All right, National Weather Service out of Cleveland. 2 inches of snow. Akron, 3.5 inches of snow. Yes, it has increased, so I'm glad I showed it for you folks. You weren't calling for any snow yesterday evening in Cleveland. Now I'm going for an inch and a half, and you got a pretty nice little corridor of snow. I say nice if you're a winter weather fan. So a swath of 3 to 4, 5 inches of snow in these areas, and that is because this storm has ticked north. That's affecting these areas. Now let's talk about the Northeast. Big topic here, right? So we are in range of the HRRR model for the beginning of this storm, and we'll take it out all the way out to 48 hours out. This is the middle of the night tomorrow night, like midnight tomorrow night, getting into our Tuesday morning. You can see it's just raining in West Virginia, Maryland, but you abruptly switch to very heavy snow once you get into central and northern areas of PA. It's snowing like crazy in northern New Jersey, the Poconos, the Catskills, and this is just starting to move into southern New England. But if you look, New York City, Long Island, it's a heavy, wet rain. A heavy cold rain. Yes, rain is wet. We do know that. So this is the latest look. So we can only go out this far on the mesoscale models. But if we turn around and we look at the European model, this is the latest run. What does this show? Get all the way out to the start of the system. Here it comes. Same thing, middle of the night. Same look as the HRRR model. Pittsburgh is struggling. It's just all rain. All of West Virginia, all rain. But then we switch, and look how this switches from rain to moderate to heavy snow back down in West Virginia. I do think we can get a little bit of snow down here in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. I don't think you're going to get any more than a couple inches. But, you take it to Tuesday morning. This is what it looks like. Still struggling with mostly rain in New York City, Long Island. They're getting hit pretty good in southern New England with a big time quick hitting heavy snow events. And then look at the axis of this heavy snow. It's ticked a little bit further north, right? But it's kind of leveling off. We're not getting any big trends anymore further north, but we've still seen some ticks here and there from the models. But you take it to about mid-morning, and the rain based off the Euro switches to some snow in New York City. Scranton snowing like crazy. Binghamton snowing like crazy. These are areas where the snow forecast has increased. You get up to the Poconos, getting some good snow. Adirondacks, the heaviest snow staying to your south. But central and southern New Hampshire and Vermont, it's snowing. This axis of heavier snow has now moved a little bit further north, and you are getting slammed in Boston about mid-morning to mid-day Tuesday in this region right in here. I think I said Monday, but the Tuesday morning into Tuesday midday in this area. And then we take it to Tuesday midday, and it is snowing like crazy in Boston, very small coastal regions of New Hampshire and eastern and southeastern Mass. And if the Euro is right, you go from rain, and then Tuesday morning sometime you switch to snow in New York City and get a period of some accumulating snow. By the time you get into Tuesday afternoon, it's still snowing good out in the coastal regions of Maine, southeast New Hampshire, southern areas of New England, and then this thing's pulling on out, and we could get some lake effect snow behind this too. That's been trending a little bit further upward. GFS, what does it show? GFS, all rain in New York City to start off, southern PA, mid-Atlantic, all rain, Delmarva, all rain, West Virginia, all rain to start this off. You get into about the middle of Tuesday morning, heavy axis of snow right in here in Pennsylvania. Man, heavy snow. But, it says they're switching to a wintry mix. along the coastal regions of the I-95 corridor in southern New England. And then look how heavy this snowstorm looks here in southern New England. This has increased a little bit. But it's snowing in New York City. So, I think you're going to struggle in New York City, but I do think there's a good chance you switch to a period of accumulating snow for the backside of the system. And then we, get into Tuesday afternoon, you're just getting thumped here with heavy, wet snow in southern New England. Could have some mixing issues in these splotches of orange, but I don't know if I buy that. And then we get into Tuesday evening, and then this thing's heading on off. So let's just talk about what everybody wants to really see, and that's the predicted snowfall forecast for this region. Several inches of snow in northern PA. This has increased up to Binghamton, the southern tier of New York. Remember, I talked about that in last night's video. I thought it would increase for kind of the eastern southern tier of New York, the Finger Lakes region. It has. Southern New England, several inches of snow expected. But let's just go on and just zoom into these individual areas. So Pittsburgh, they're still just calling for like a dusting of snow. This could change. There is a high end potential with this that I want to show you guys. And I don't show you guys this much at all, PBZ. I want to show you the high end potential for this area, right? They show like an expected forecast and they show a high end scenario. The high end scenario is 4 inches of snow in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I mean, that's something to, watch out for. But sorry if I went through that too fast, though. Just go back to it and pause it if you need to. National Weather Service out of Buffalo. Yes, snowfall forecast has increased for this area. Rochester up to 2 inches. Buffalo, inch or two of snow. Wellsville, now you're creeping to over a half a foot of snow now expected. But if you compare this to what we showed you yesterday, I think Buffalo was only calling for like a half an inch of snow, and these areas only a couple inches of snow. So things have increased in this area. Tuck Plateau seeing maybe a little bit of snow now, a couple inches, could increase again. And then we look at our friends here in State College. It has decreased down here. Harrisburg down to just 1 to 2. And that is because we're expecting a little bit more mixing issues down here. Altoona, 4 to 6 inches. State College, what is that, 2 to 3? Or no, I always get these mixed up. 2 to 3 in Lewistown, still 4 to 6 in State College. Clearfield, 4 to 6. But you start to get closer to these kind of higher elevated regions here in Pennsylvania. Wellsboro, 8 inches. LaPorte, or just LaPorte, 8 to 12 inches of snow. So we start to move to the mid-Atlantic area, and not much to really talk about here. 1 to 2 inches of snow is possible in western Maryland, these higher elevated regions of western Maryland. And then this is a big area where it has really increased. Binghamton, I think you were at 6 to 8 inches of snow last night. Now your forecast is for 8 to 12. So it has increased. Scranton still 6 to 8 from what I remember. Syracuse just 2 to 3, but you're right on the fringe of heavier snow. Monticello still at 8 to 12 inches of snow. But yeah, it has increased a little bit in these regions, guys. We go down to this region, New Jersey, Eastern PA, Allentown still 2 to 3, Mount Pocono 8 to 12, Sussex 8 to 12. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I have not had time to read any corrections in my comments, but we moved to New York City, still going from 1 to 2 in New York City. Newark 1 to 2. You go to White Plains 3 to 4, and just a common theme in Long Island 1 to 2 inches of snow. Get on up the road though to New Haven, 4 to 6. Bridgeport, around 4 inches of snow. Danbury, 6 to 8. So this is what it's expected here. Middletown, 8 to 12. And then we go to Albany. This is an area that has increased. Albany, 6 to 8. Now we're starting to see some 12 to 18-inch snowfall forecasts in these regions, especially in the kind of the Catskills, where higher elevations, of course. Berkshire's going to get anywhere from 8 to 18 inches of snow, depending on your location. Torrington, 8 to 12. So we got to watch to see how much these areas increase. Brattleboro is a place that, was only calling for a few inches of snow a couple days ago. Now they're up to 8 to 12 inches of snow forecast in this region. Manchester, 4 to 6. And then a big area that we're watching. Not many changes that they have had in this area. Now we'll see if there's any updates. Let's see if there's an update for this area. Yes, there is an update. There's an update. That's great. Great timing. They have increased the forecast of snow in this area. Now Boston is at 8 to 12 inches of snow. I'm glad I updated that. That's awesome timing. Makes me want to go back and update all the other ones, but don't have time to do that. Springfield, 8 to 12. Now you just got a huge wide swath of 8 to 12 inches of snow forecast. So Hartford, 8 to 12. Providence still at 4 to 6. Plymouth 6 to 8. So you could get your first foot snowfall in Boston. We'll see how this plays out. Head on up the road. There's, like I said, southern Vermont has increased their snowfall forecast for this area. We'll see how much this shifts north, but as of now, northern central Vermont, not expecting much. And then we get up into New Hampshire and Maine. Let's see if this has increased. Let's see if we got a new kind of outlook for this. Nah, still got the same one. So Manchester 6 to 8, Portsmouth 8 to 12 inches of snow, Portland about half a foot. So find where you are on your screen right here, and then we go on up to the down east areas of Maine, Bar Harbor, 3 to 4 inches of snow, Bangor 1 to 2. Not really expecting anything up here in Caribou or anything like that. So that's an update there. Let's talk about our folks in Canada. Listen, there's some huge differences between the Euro and the GFS up here. Give your local meteorologist a break up here because this is going to be a tough one. European, we get into Tuesday afternoon, wallop of a winter storm moving into Nova Scotia, even some heavy snow all the way up into New Brunswick, snowing pretty heavily Tuesday evening into Prince Edward Island, Cape Breton Island. A big-time winter storm just moves in Tuesday, lasts through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, comes up late Tuesday night into the wee hours of the morning, Wednesday morning, Valentine's Day, and you guys get a lot of heavy snow in Newfoundland based off the Euro. And then, of course, a lot of heavy snow kind of gets thrown back into this region. But you look at the GFS, look how much different it is. Yes, you still get snow in Nova Scotia, not hardly anything in New Brunswick. But then, it's like basically a non-event for Newfoundland. Yeah, it delivers a little bit of snow, especially the further southeast you get. But that is a huge difference, right? And check out the snowfall with this huge difference. This is in centimeters, of course. You got widespread 30 to 40, even 50 centimeters of snow, even some areas in 60 and 70 centimeters of snow between now and the next week in areas of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton Island. So 1 to 2.5 feet of snow. Widespread snows in Newfoundland. But then you switch it to the GFS, and that's a totally different. Not much of anything, maybe at most, 10 to 20 centimeters of snow. It's a huge difference, guys. So, stay tuned to our updates. Who's going to win this one? I don't know. It's a big, big difference in the forecast. I do want to mention there's a severe weather threat for tomorrow also. Not going to get very detailed on this. Just because I don't want to make this video go, an hour long. We've already been talking for almost 45 minutes. But there is a slight risk, and it has broadened a little bit. We got to watch to see how this increases. But this is a huge slight risk, which includes a lot of higher populated areas. Birmingham to Atlanta to Columbia, Savannah, Charleston, almost up to Charlotte included into this. All of Georgia is included in this, just about. Almost all of South Carolina and a large chunk of Alabama is included in this. And you look at the 5% risk of a tornado, in this area, just a pretty large 5% risk area. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Are we going to get any kind of increase to wind threat? Huge 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. I think this is going to be more so clusters of storms in this area. And the hail threat just at a 5% risk right now. So before we get going, let's jump back to the Storm Prediction Center. Let's see if there's an update from this. There's not. So if there's an update to an enhanced risk, I will put it in the comments for this, guys, because it always tears my nerves up when it updates after I do a video. That time frame of interest, guys, I'll just show you the latest Euro in the GFS. And here it comes. There's some trends that's going to more of a substantial winter, just a more substantial winter storm event, just a bigger chance for a higher end storm system for the middle of the country for the Euro. For example, now you're showing some signs of maybe a winter storm for the Midwest, dare I say Chicago, on the European model. Okay, this is something we have to watch. This might be the next topic as we're getting into Friday into our Saturday. This shows a winter storm event for areas of the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, Chicago. So that's something we need to watch right into this region. All right. That moves in and actually becomes a winter weather event for areas of the Northeast. As you can tell, there's a lot of moisture kind of just, kind of moving into the deep South, the Southeast. But it's a totally different look. And what happens is as we get into the 17th, the 18th, we have another low that tries to develop here. But it does not jive with this cold air. But you get a big shot of cold air coming down. All right, the Euro is starting to really hone in on that idea. but it doesn't catch up with that moisture. It almost does. In fact, if you zoom into this region, let's take a closer look at this. You look at temperatures at this frame. This is Sunday morning. This is a week from today. And you see the moisture right here, right? There's that 540 line. How cold are the temperatures for this same area? I mean, it's close. You got some cold temperatures. But in the Carolinas where you got the moisture, it's still pretty warm. But there's a really cold air nearby. Very cold air nearby. So can you get some better mashing with the cold air and the moisture for a winter weather event? And then what's wild is, you got another system behind this. And forgive me for having to do all this on the fly. Another system behind this, another shot of cold air. And man, you almost do something right here with this moisture with cold air nearby. And it does do something for the eastern U.S. So I think we got some wild times coming up to get into our second half of February. Kind of like what we always thought, right? We always thought that second half of February was going to be a little bit more interesting. But you look at the GFS and it's just, man, these models are everywhere. Same kind of thing. You bog down some cold air from the north. You get a lot of overrunning, kind of moisture overrunning that cold air, but there's no really big winter storm like it shows on the Euro for like the Midwest. It does have some overrunning of snow here in this area right in here, but not a forecast. And then you're thinking, man, this is about to do something big, right? You look at the eastern U.S., here it is. You got snow flying in Kentucky, not a forecast. Tennessee, areas of Arkansas, snow up here in D.C. And you're thinking the cold air is catching up. This is about to do something big. And it kind of does. It's nothing big. And it brings an area of moderate snow all the way down to Virginia, North Carolina. And it almost connects. Almost. This is encouraging to see if you're a winter weather fan for next weekend because the GFS, remember, didn't want to have nothing to do with this. The thing is the Euro kind of went away from what it showed yesterday about midday. So they're trying to hone in on something for next weekend. And it catches that cold up with the moisture so fast that it's snowing all the way to the coastal regions of North Carolina. And then this heads on out. And then I think the biggest difference is, guys, what happens after this system. The GFS and the Euro do not agree with one another. The Euro brings a big shot of cold air down. The GFS keeps it kind of bottled up to the north. So, it's a tough one to figure out. If you look at the GFS, the big thing we're going to be watching here is all this energy down here and all this energy up here. Do they kind of combine into one? If you can get northern stream energy and southern stream energy to sort of link up sometime for like next weekend in this time frame right here, you could have a more substantial winter weather event for someone. It's just trying to figure that out. I'm not going to pull up the European ensemble and the GFS ensemble. Not much to look at right there. But we need to watch this time frame. And I've been saying that for the last 4 or 5 days, and I think we continue to need to watch it. And just the evolution of the pattern as we get into the last. Remember, if you remember back, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, I always liked February 20th onward. This event that's coming up this weekend, which is before February 20th, is kind of an event that we watch. But I've always liked the last 7 or 8 days of February. But, could be wrong. Could be dead wrong. So we just need to figure it out. There's some big question marks. I think we're going to have some wild model runs this week for next week. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all and have a great Sunday.